That was quick. Uh-huh.
Hello?
Hello. How's it going?
Pretty good. I just came in. So, did you misspell rabbit?
I am a human rabbit, you know. No. So rabbi means teacher in Judaism.
Oh, I wouldn't know. I'm not Jewish.
Yes. Well, the picture you have on your profile is of a Jewish guy.
Borat is not Jewish.
Yeah, he's Jewish.
No.
Sasha, the actor who plays Borat, is Jewish. His family lives
Borat,
in Israel.
the character Borat is definitely not Jewish.
Correct. No, the character claims to be from Uzbekistan or Kazakhstan or one of these places. But the actor's
He
Jewish.
warns of the big claws, and they'll try to take your money in the movie.
Yeah, no, it's a comedy. I mean, it's supposed to be satire. It's not.
Oh, I thought it
He's
was real.
Jewish. I mean, he's a comedian.
I thought it was a real
No, not
documentary.
at all. No. So where do you live?
I can't tell you that. You might track me down.
No. Well, I am Jewish, so you never know.
So why is Judaism better than other religions?
Well, I'm talking about religions that came from Judaism. So Islam came from Judaism, essentially. Christianity, for sure, came from Judaism. So from that, would at least really behoove them, benefit them to start with the one that gave birth to these two religions, i.e., Judaism, and realize what it actually teaches before going forward.
So what did
So just on
Judaism
that
rip off?
notion alone, I would say the average. It didn't. It didn't. It was the first major ethical monotheistic religion, not the only monotheistic religion. Right? There's many other belief systems that believed in one God, but the ethical God with this I guess universal law code, because the law was meant for anyone who wanted to keep it. Anyone. It wasn't really limited to pedigree. So yeah, no, if Judaism would have ripped another belief system off, I'd be looking into that belief system. Now, I'm not saying there's things in Judaism that don't exist in other belief systems, but ethically, the ethics that appear in the Torah are pretty unique for when it was revealed to this world. So, yeah.
When was it revealed?
Around 3,000 years ago, over 3,000 years ago.
Not that long ago.
Yeah, but that's what we believe. That's what the Bible says. Can we prove it was revealed to us 3,000 years ago? No, we can't prove that, right?
You know what I
There's aren't.
wonder? How they
Yeah,
kept time so accurately, all that, you know.
yeah. Well, the bulk of anything regarding time that has to do with Christianity or Judaism, a lot of faith comes into play. Now, with Christianity and Islam, because they're newer belief systems, it's a bit easier to track for sure. Islam, it's a lot easier to track. But yes, something that was revealed to us 3,000 years ago, you would need faith to really claim that you believe it. Yeah, and I have faith in it.
Probably a good amount of error. Probably a couple.
Oh, sure. What makes or breaks our belief system is if living by this ethical law code makes you a worse individual. That destroys the whole belief system. On there being an error here or there doesn't really make or break our religion. Because in life, I think the choice is typically between what's good and what's better, not between what's horrific and what's perfect.
Who decides what's good?
I think that we could determine that by what ultimately makes the world a better place. What encourages peace, not just what calls for peace, but what actually encourages peace. What makes people more benevolent, right? What makes people volunteer more of their time, donate more of their money? What makes them more charitable? And I think to all those questions, Judaism, or living a religious existence surpasses living a nihilistic atheistical one. So I'm not saying Judaism is perfect. I'm just saying it's better than the alternative, which in this case would be nothing. I mean, I think Christians are ethical. I think Muslims are ethical because they're based off of the ethics that appear in our Bible. But I mean, I figure you're asking more from an atheistical perspective. Like, is it better to not do anything? Not if you want to do the most good that you can do while you're alive, right?
Can I ask you another
Then it's
question?
for sure. Yeah.
What's so bad about there being nothing after this life?
Oh, there isn't necessarily something bad about it, right? But it's going to get people to not produce as much good, not to fight evil, not to take responsibility for their actions if there's no purpose in life. That's the problem. Kids who don't feel that there's any reason for their existence, girls in particular when they're younger, are not very chaste. You know, they sleep around. Boys don't really take responsibility for their actions if they don't feel that a good God is in some way watching them or expecting them to strive to do more. So whether it's true or not, it's hard to deny that religious people end up doing more than atheistic individuals, more in this world.
So by that logic, money could be a religion.
Why?
You froze. You there?
How?
Well, it gives you
Yes,
a purpose. It gives you a reason to get
How
out
can
of
it be?
bed in the morning.
Oh, I mean, for sure, that's something that's applicable for religious people too. I would say religious people who have no money have no influence. So there's not much you could do on this planet without being financially backed, whether it's feeding the
Exactly.
hungry, fighting
Religion of
evil,
greed.
all this stuff. Yeah, but however, if you have the money and you don't know what to do with it, i.e., what good to do with it, then I mean, it's like not having it. At least
That's like a
regarding
very
in
small
terms of how it
fraction of
affects
the
the world.
population has that issue.
I would say that I think the vast majority of people identify with some religion, but if you have an atheist who does know what to do with it, I think they're typically spend most of their time attacking people who feel that they have something to live for. We have people like George Soros, a multi-billionaire who doesn't really know what to exist for, with the exception of attacking everyone who's religious and anyone who claims to have a reason to exist for. So that's it. They don't have a standard to aspire to. They attack others who claim to have a standard, and it's a this is one thing atheistical people are very happy in general. I mean, I'm sure there's crappy religious people and beautiful atheistical people, but in the vast majority of cases, if you feel that your life has no meaning, that there is no purpose to exist, and that there's no standard to aspire to, I think it gives you sort of unhappy demeanor. It just doesn't, everything is sort of meaningless. Oh, this guy left. All right, guys. Every day, we'll 30% today. All right, let's see. I think both Judaism and Christianity combined is the best for me. Okay, if that works for you, then go for it. I'm not telling anyone they have to be Jewish. I'm just first letting them know. So let's shoot for a high viewer count. That's first point in speaking if people aren't listening. So share the live. If anyone who annoys the heck out of you because he's trying to share his piece, well, I'll give him the same message or her. So with Muslims and Christians, and although I respect these beliefs, I just think that my belief system is a little better. As you should say with you, if you remain a Muslim, I get it. But the problem is most Jews don't defend Judaism. So I'm here not only defending Judaism, but telling you that it might be an option for you. It might not. So let's do it, guys. Judaism is better, and I think I could prove it. I think I can make a pretty good argument for the case. Okay, let's see. Someone asked about their cult leader, Eliezer ben Yehuda. Eliezer ben Yehuda was the guy who revived the Hebrew language. Nothing to do with what I believe in. I don't even know what kind of statement is that. Okay, let's see. I hope TikTok's not acting up again. Sometimes it just doesn't want to share live with people. Could it be? Maybe I said something? I have a nerve to just get off and get back on just because that is sometimes. You know what? I'm going to do that. Loud and loud. Okay, so stay tuned, guys. I think it's slow. Yeah, it's like freezing up. There's something wrong. There's something wrong. Let me take off. Let's see if it goes up now. I don't know what's wrong with this TikTok. All right, here we go. Perhaps you could confirm Palestinians. Let's see if it goes up now. I don't know what's wrong with this TikTok. All right, here we go. Perhaps you could confirm Palestinians. Let's see if it goes up now. I don't know what's wrong with this TikTok. All right, here we go. Perhaps you could confirm Palestinians. All right, here we go. Perhaps you could confirm Palestinians. You know, I think I'm gonna exit and come back in. Hopefully it lets me do it now. Hold on, it says I'm good, but I could tell there's something wrong when the viewership stays low for some reason. Hold on. I guess I'll give it a minute or so. Let me go ahead and organize the stage here. Guys, like we do I guess it's been almost every day now. Judaism is better. Let's have a dialogue about it. There we go. Still hasn't gone up, the viewership. So let's see. What do you think of Reform Judaism? I don't like it. I don't like Reform Judaism. It's not really Judaism. It's really, Judaism super light. I'm sure there's nice Reform people. That's a given. It doesn't even have to be mentioned. But they don't take the religion seriously. They don't take the Torah seriously. And they don't take Jewish law seriously. So I think Reform Jews are probably better off converting to Christianity, in my opinion. Okay, why don't we just people? Why don't we have to join all these crazy cults? Because people have tried that, just sort of existing without the belief in a God, in this case, the Bible. And what they leave is more of a mess, more carnage than when they arrived. That's just the way it is. So we're forced to adopt some sort of ethical belief system to help you move forward. Can Palestinians become Jews? I would have no issue converting Palestinians to Judaism if they would adopt the Torah, for sure. And yes, they could become Jews. When I finally get the opportunity to go live, I want to talk about Karaite. Okay. I mean, I've a dialogue with the best of them, meaning in the Karaite camp. I have an interview / debate with Isaac Kite. I would say he's one of the more knowledgeable Karaites. Nehemiah Gordon. It's on my channel high. Okay, outside of the dietary law, what is your take on kosher? I think it's a money-making scheme. I agree. It's a mafia. I used to work for Rabbi Asher for a few years. Most people don't know that. Rabbi Asher was probably the largest slaughterhouse kosher meat producer in America. Yeah, it's somewhat of a mafia. Okay, how was Jesus not the Messiah? Genuine question. I don't believe Jesus is the Messiah. Okay, just to make that clear. I think he's more of a Messiah than the Lubavitcher Rebbe ever was, or than Shabtai Tzvi ever was. I can't say that for what his believers actually practice or what Christianity teaches, but just with what appears in the Gospels alone, I don't think there's anything there that necessarily disqualifies him. That's it. Okay. Okay, hints about him being God. The truth be told, there's Kabbalists who say similar statements, not meaning that they claim to be God, but just there's a lot of hyperbole in rabbinic talk. Okay, especially in Gnosticism. So I don't know if that answers your question. Okay, Jew, Muslim, atheist, etc. all have the conscience that God, but none of them. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. All right, guys. Let's get these numbers up. Judaism's better. Let's talk about it. Boy. This week it's like a record for me going live. And I'll tell you what, it's working. People are contacting me that they want to convert. Mainly because they didn't know it was possible before. So I think that this is the way I give back to the Jewish community. As much as they don't thank me for doing this, they are happy when people end up converting. As much as they say they don't want to proselytize, they're happy when someone actually goes through the process, right? So I'll bite the bullet. Okay, what is the Talmud? The Talmud is made up of two books, the Gemara and the Mishnah. The Gemara is a commentary to the Mishnah. The Mishnah is what we consider are the rulings of the court, the rulings of Chazal. That's what we actually call the oral law. The Gemara is just a commentary to the Mishnah. So there's two Talmuds, Talmud Yerushalmi, Talmud Bavli. Talmud Yerushalmi was written in the land of Israel, not necessarily in Jerusalem, I think in Tiberia. All right. Yeah, so one is a commentary of rabbis in Israel, and another one is a commentary of rabbis in Babylon. Okay, next. Do you agree with Israel's law of return? No, I don't. I don't think that only because you happen to have a Jewish father, you should be eligible. And I think that converts should have an easier path to immigrating to the land of Israel. It's true, if you convert nowadays, you get free citizenship in the land of Israel, although they limit who could perform that conversion. So that's a problem because they don't want to do it in poor countries. What is moror? What do you mean for Pesach? In terms of bitter herbs? Maror is that the bitter herbs? I mean, I'm confusing my. Anyways, I'll get to it later. Okay, let's see. All right. Okay. Yeah. Judaism demystified. They're supposed to interview me. I gotta talk to the guy and see what's going on. Bensi. Do all rabbis have advanced college degrees? No. There's certain schools, for example, Yeshiva University, which is probably the most prestigious place in the Ashkenazi world that produces rabbis, won't let you enter the rabbinical program unless you have a degree, a 4-year degree. I don't think Ner Yisrael does the same thing, which is probably the second most prominent yeshiva in, let's say, the modern Orthodox world. But no, in Israel, let's say you don't need to have a degree to enter a rabbinical program, right? However, in terms of how much rabbis study or Orthodox Jews study, they might as well have degrees. The average person who learns in yeshiva or kollel in Israel doesn't have the title rabbi, doesn't care for the title rabbi. But they know their stuff back and forth, typically better than most rabbis in America. In America, it's more of a profession. In Israel, at least in places in Jerusalem, like in Jerusalem, it's more of a lifestyle. So they may not have advanced degrees. When they need it, the yeshiva will give them what's called a BTL, which is called a bachelor's in Talmudic law. Because sometimes, someone learns 5 years in yeshiva and then they want to go to college. The yeshiva will give them a 4-year equivalent, so they can go into either med school or law school. Okay, let's see. If your God loves you so much, why? Okay, did that thing happen? So I don't believe that God controls the future. The truth is that thing happened, and I will tell you, this is the opinion by the vast majority of Jews, Orthodox Jews. It's essentially because Jews were doing things they weren't supposed to be doing. And I quote that Rabbi Yochanan Wasserman also was killed during that event. That this is what he wrote, that the reason the individuals who orchestrated that event were called what they were called, according to Rabbi Yochanan Wasserman, was because there were two sins that Jews were delving into that they shouldn't have been, and that's nationalism and socialism. Okay, anyways, are you a Israelite? I'm a citizen of the state of Israel. I lived in Israel for 5 years. Truth be told, I converted to Judaism 23 years ago or something. So yeah, according to halakha, according to Jewish law, I am an Israelite. Do you still have the name, cell number? Just checking. Of Benzi? I have his cell phone number. You mean from Judaism Demystified? I wouldn't just give it out. Just contact him on the podcast. He gives you the name of his website. So your fairy tale is better than others. I prefer Star Wars. Okay. You think Star Wars is equivalent to a system that essentially helped civilize the world? Good luck. Okay, let's see. Next. When can I go convert? So go to your local synagogue. Preferably Orthodox synagogue. If you can't find Orthodox, okay, maybe conservative might be an option. Go to your local synagogue and tell them that you're interested in converting. If the community is large enough, they'll typically have a program. If not, they could sponsor you and take you to your local Beit Din. Okay, this guy definitely graduated from a golf course and calls himself a rabbi. Okay, this is a hater of mine, which I will block. Because the people who just hop in and insult people are not worth... okay. Let's see. Are all rabbis married? No, all rabbis are not married. There's not a big distinction. When someone's not married in the Orthodox world, they're called a bacher. A bacher, by definition, is a single person. And those are people who are learning yeshiva. People who are married and learning yeshiva, it's not called yeshiva anymore, it's called kollel. There's a distinction, right? In the Ashkenazi world, married men wear a tallis. If you see anyone in the Ashkenazi world wearing a prayer shawl, it means that they're married. In the Sephardi world, everyone like all males wear a prayer shawl. I think by Sephardim, they do it after their bar mitzvah. I think so. Yeah, I know some yekas, because yekas do the same thing, but I don't know. Maybe I've seen younger kids with it. Okay, let's see. No, that chapter was finished after Malachi, I guess, Malachi. The Messiah has come, you know his name. So this is a Christian spouting creed again. When you hop into someone's life that doesn't believe like you do, you have to dialogue from the same books that he or she believes, right? Just spouting something that Islam or Christianity teaches doesn't make you sound as someone who likes to discuss your belief in a sophisticated manner, in an intellectual manner. All right. Yeah, YouTube, TikTok is like up and down today. I don't know why. Let's see. So guys, welcome. We're looking for guests. Who wants to defend their belief system? Who wants to attack Judaism? They're all welcome here. Muslims, in particular Jews. If Jews have a problem with me encouraging people to consider becoming Jewish, you'll get on first. So welcome, guys. This is what we do every other day. We encourage people to consider becoming Jewish. And we dialogue with the naysayers and as well as people who are just curious and have great questions to ask. We love answering those questions, as well as debating Christians and Muslims and atheists, and many times Jews themselves, who for some reason are not convinced of how valuable their belief system actually is. So I'm here to remind them, assuming they're religious. Explain Isaiah 7:14. Someone's asking. So Isaiah 7:14 is the verse that Christians use to justify the virgin birth of Jesus. The issue with that, and I'm not taking a major stance on either side, but the term virgin there is not really virgin in Hebrew. Virgin in Hebrew is betulah. In there, the term alma appears, which literally means young woman. Now, can a young woman be a virgin? Absolutely. But don't you think it was such an important prophecy that it would have used a specific word for virgin? Now, don't forget, every time God sends prophets to someone, he's talking about an event of that time. Just because the people are listening have to be able to relate to the prophet. God raises up prophets when Israel goes in the wrong direction. So what was Isaiah prophesying to at that time? If he was talking about the virgin birth, he clearly couldn't have been talking about the virgin birth, something that would have happened 600 years in the future. So what was Isaiah talking to that group of people? Are you telling me there was a virgin birth back then also? Of course not. Now, some Christians would acknowledge it. They'll say, well, there's the law of double interpretation, which doesn't make any sense. You would have to acknowledge that there was a virgin birth in the time of Isaiah and in Jesus, right? Because Isaiah wasn't made a prophet to prophesy Jesus. He was made a prophet to prophesy to Israel that they should return back to Torah observance, right? But I guess these are things that most Christians don't have answers for. So yeah, that's what Isaiah 14 is talking about. 7:14. I read Professor Ressa Aslan's book, Zealot, a few years ago. Have you read it? I have not read it. Don't know what it's about. But typically, if it has to do with zealotry in Judaism, it probably has to do with like the Sicarii, Second Temple times, Roman killers, I guess. Are divorced women welcome in your church? Well, just so you know, Orthodox Jews or Jews don't call their places of worship churches. I understand it's not a big deal, but they call it synagogues typically. Reform Jews, I think they call it temple. Orthodox Jews don't use the term temple. Yeah. In Judaism, divorce is allowed. Unlike Catholicism, that I think you could only really annul a marriage. People get divorced in Judaism. I guess maybe you're speaking for yourself. If you would go into a synagogue, assuming you're not Jewish and you're converting to Judaism, they'd snatch you up right away. For some reason, Jewish men love Jewish converts. So, divorced women are welcome to. As a matter of fact, that's a challenge. I'm going to challenge you guys to go to your local synagogue this Shabbat. This Shabbat around 9:45, 10 a.m. Park a few blocks down, at least if it's an Orthodox synagogue, because we don't drive on the Sabbath. Leave your phone in your car or turn it off and put it in your bag. Make sure they don't see it. And then walk in and sit in the women's section. If you're a guy, sit in the guy section. If you're a girl, wear a skirt below your knees, sleeves below your elbows. Stand when they stand, sit when they sit. At the end, meet the rabbi's wife. Of course, don't shake anyone's hand in the Orthodox world. We don't shake hands. And give it a try. And then come back here and tell me how it went. Awesome power move if you go and do that. And you don't even have to want to convert to Judaism to do it. Just do it because you can. Just go for it. Okay, so my friend Layla says, what is up with Christians giving Melchizedek glory as Christ? It's interesting because Jews, as much as there are similarities between Jews and Christians, the notion of Melchizedek being Mashiach, I've never heard it in like rabbinic literature, like even hinted at. The folklore teaches that I believe he was either Shem himself or the son of Shem. This is what the folklore says. The Torah doesn't say. Okay, anyways, fine. Did you see the movie A Serious Man? And what did you think? I hate that movie. There's some good stuff put out by the Coen brothers or whatever, but that movie, it's everything I dislike about, my people. It's like, whatever. I mean, I guess that means it's a good movie because it touched me like that. It's kind of like Seinfeld. I like Seinfeld, but it gets kind of annoying because I know too many people like that I'm not a fan of. Yes, okay. What is Shem? So Shem was one of the sons of Noah. Opinions of Metzitza B'Peh. Okay, so this is I'm sure you guys see it, that after a circumcision to in some way, I think the word is coagulate the blood in the spot of the circumcision. Traditionally, they would in some way suck on that portion so that the baby, if he was sick in some way, wouldn't bleed to death. So nowadays, the vast majority of people who do this, right, your average moil doesn't do that. Like, he'll use a syringe at that part that does the same thing, right? I mean, just because back then people weren't so knowledgeable about diseases, hepatitis, and all that stuff. But yes, it's nothing sexual, right? There's typically a response when you hear someone making fun of Jewish people, like Jewish people do this and that because they're perverts or something. It's typically not true. Okay, just look into it, research it, ask a rabbi. Okay, let's see. Reformed is Christian, conservative, remain Jewish. I don't know what that means. Okay, I'm sorry, but how can you call yourself religious saying your religion is better than others? I think every religion says that. This is why people remain in their religion. You're telling me a Muslim remains a Muslim thinking that it's on the same level as Christianity? Of course not. Muslims believe that Christians are pagans, and believe that Jews are essentially pagans because they corrupted their text. Christians believe that if you're not Christian, you're not saved. So they clearly believe their belief system, believing in Jesus, is better. Not believe. What are you saying? How can you be religious? Every religion does this. Come on, Judaism should do it also because we have what to say on it. How do you see Isaiah 53? I think Isaiah 53 is talking about. Oh, we have a guest. It's talking about Isaiah himself, but when God sends prophets or messengers to Israel, they're made to suffer, and they suffer essentially because of the sin of Israel. Welcome.
Shalom.
Shalom. So what's the good word?
Islam does not call Jewish people pagans.
All right. So pagan essentially means not endorsed by your beliefs. That's what.
Okay.
I mean, just like the Orient was anything east of London. If Islam believes that the Jews intentionally corrupt the word of God, how can they be anything but pagan?
So pagan as in like worshiping something
but
get to God.
So pagan doesn't mean devil worship, or it doesn't necessarily mean idol worship. Is anything that's sanctioned by the word of God that is considered pagan?
Not necessarily. Not in Islam.
All right, fine.
Like,
if that's how you mean it, well, then I agree with you.
like you could be a disbeliever, but you're a monotheist though. At the end of the day, you just don't believe in the final prophet. You reject the final prophet.
Right. So that in itself gets me labeled as a person of the book. But not someone who's going to make it to heaven, but someone who's essentially still going to burn in hell.
No. If you deny the prophet after you know about him, then you're a disbeliever.
Obviously, every Christian, every Jew.
Yeah, but if you're a Jew and you're just, believing in one God, you're good, if you're ignorant.
Yeah, but if you deny the prophet?
I said, no. Why would you deny the last prophet?
Then we no longer would be Jewish if we would accept the prophet, right?
Listen, why do you deny the final prophet?
Because we don't.
Confirming your scriptures. Huh?
This is why we deny him, because we don't believe that he's a prophet.
Interesting. Okay, makes sense.
I'll tell you why I don't believe he's a prophet. Because the prophet's not supposed to bring a new religion. Bring you back to the old religion.
Hello, hi.
Hi.
You sound Somali.
I sound.
Me?
Yeah.
What are
you? Anyway, whatever. Okay.
Hold it.
I came on here because I try to understand Judaism and I don't, and I genuinely just want to learn more. So, like, my first question, if you could answer, please, is: do Jews believe in an afterlife?
Yes, Jews believe in an afterlife, although our Bible doesn't mention one. However, the rabbis wrote a lot about the afterlife, and I would say that the reason Christianity believes in an afterlife and Islam believes in an afterlife is because they came from Judaism.
Yes.
So,
because Judaism and Islam, Christianity is an Abrahamic religion, right?
Jews believe that we're an Abrahamic religion. we could acknowledge Christianity as an Abrahamic religion because they believe in our Bible. Muslims, in some way, appropriated everything in a new book called the Quran. So they could claim to be whatever they want, but the Abraham that appears in the Quran, just like almost every prophet that appears in the Quran, behaves differently, has essentially a different story than they had in the Jewish Bible. So
I thought Islam was a lot closer to Christianity than Judaism was because of how similar the stories were.
No, well, I think people think that because you acknowledge Jesus as a prophet, while Jews do not acknowledge Jesus as a prophet. The difference is it's essentially a different Jesus.
I thought so. Jews don't not to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
I thought Jews acknowledge Jesus as a prophet.
No, not at
So
all.
what do you guys acknowledge Jesus as?
As a man, I mean, just like Muhammad, it was just a
Okay,
person.
so he has no significance in the
No
Torah.
religion. Yeah.
Okay, and the Torah, when was it made?
It was. We believe in faith that it was given to us 3,000 years ago.
Okay, so and you guys never changed it.
We believe in faith that we never changed it.
Okay, so the Quran, I know the Quran's never been changed, but there's different variations of the Bible.
Well, you
So,
believe that in faith also, by the way.
huh?
You believe that in faith also. I
Now we
know.
got proof.
Well,
I'm not trying to
you can't
debate
have
you.
proof.
I genuinely, you're a rabbi?
I am a rabbi.
Okay, I'm genuinely curious about that. So, can anybody become Jewish? Is it
Yes.
Jewish? Is it Jewish if I want to become a Jew?
Yes.
Please
It'd
don't
be
laugh at
considered
me.
Jewish.
I didn't know.
It's funny
Okay.
though.
So then, in your Torah,
The average Muslim, by the way, the average Muslim who comes on the show does not know whether you could become Jewish.
This is the way he said it's funny.
okay. And so in the Torah, what is like the? Now I want to go read the Torah because that's interesting. That there's a whole Torah, but it doesn't describe the afterlife at all. Do you believe in the afterlife?
He said he
Yes.
does.
Okay.
Yes, I believe in it in life, but I don't think that God commands me to believe in it or expects me to. It seems that God wants you to be more preoccupied with this planet than the world to come. This is why
Huh.
in Islam, you have people martyring themselves
Yeah.
just because they live more for the next world and they don't focus on this planet so much. So we try to leave this world a little
No,
than we
we
found it.
do both. We do both to the highest form. We think about the next life so much that we do the best in this world to have a good next life. Because you're here to live and make the world better. That's the whole purpose of having life. You're not just here to
Okay.
die.
But do you guys believe in heaven or hell?
So the average Jew does believe this, but it just doesn't appear in our Bible.
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder why they would. So who created the Torah? Was it handed down to Moses? I literally don't know. Or was it who wrote the Torah?
So we believe that on Mount Sinai, God first revealed his will to humanity, i.e. the Torah, but it wasn't all given to us on Mount Sinai. It began on Mount Sinai all the way to the end of what we call Deuteronomy today. That means while they were in the desert and all that, God was still revealing Torah to Moses. The 10 Commandments were given directly on Mount Sinai, but the 613 Commandments was a constant transmission throughout the wilderness.
Okay.
And you could become Jewish that way. And if you convert to Judaism, you would be given free citizenship in the land of Israel because it's not about race, and it's all about belief and behavior. Essentially,
I'm not entirely interested in becoming Jewish. I was just curious because it seemed like no. I just like not in a mean way. I just it just seems like a very exclusive society, you know. And I feel like there's a lot of secrecy, and I feel like you guys have a lot of knowledge that you could share.
yeah. Well, it's not so exclusive if I'm welcoming you to look into it.
Okay.
Right?
So where should I read about sources for about Judaism online? Authentic sources.
I encourage people to read Dennis Prager's book called "The 9 Questions People Ask About Judaism." But you could just pick up the Torah, but it's going to read more like a history book with a bunch of laws in it.
Okay.
But to get there's so much audio classes, video classes online on YouTube about Judaism, then just type in Judaism introduction. Yeah.
Someone wrote in the comments, talk about Israel's sterilization of Ethiopian Jews. What
I'm
is
not
that?
with that. I never
Okay.
sterilized. I mean, I'm not trying to cover up any
Mm,
misdeeds of Israel, but I'm not going to lie either.
okay. So the people, I sound very ignorant, I'm sorry, but like the people that came back to Israel or Palestine, are they from Europe? Where are they from?
Partially, partially. The Jews were scattered all over the planet. So Jews from Europe were called Ashkenazi Jews, while Jews from Spain in particular and Portugal were called Sephardic. In the Middle East, they were called Mizrahi Jews. But there were Jews in Northern Africa also. So I would say probably the vast majority of Jews could probably trace their lineage back to some extent, but there's a bunch of converts also in the Jewish world too who are considered fully Jewish.
Okay. Where who brought Judaism to Ethiopia?
So there's different stories on that. There's one idea that King Solomon married the Queen of Sheba and had a son who went back to Ethiopia, and his line was the parent of the Bet Israel. Some people call them Falashas, but that's sort of derogatory. And there's another understanding that the tribe of Dan was, when they went into exile, because they were part of the 10 lost tribes that they settled in Ethiopia. So there are scattered tribes. There's tribes in Nigeria.
Okay.
So yeah, they're all over.
Interesting. Okay. I learned a lot, and I've tried to go online and learn if Jews believe in an afterlife, and I was just so confused. And now I understand that most Jews do. Okay, and you guys are focused on this life here.
Well,
Why is
okay.
it so?
I'm telling you what the Torah teaches. There's many Jews who believe different things because of Kabbalah and different things, but just according to the plain Torah, it doesn't deal with an afterlife. But the
I'm
rabbis
sorry.
have a lot to say about the afterlife. Well, so someone's asked me out there, where did I get smicha from? So I learned in Aish, like in the old city. I learned in Or Sameach and many different yeshivas in Israel. I was an outreach worker in Hebrew youth, so the rabbi who hired me as an outreach worker, gave me smicha. So his name was Jeff Sadel. He gave me smicha. I also have smicha from Nachle Emuna, which is a rabbi in New York named Rabbi Kolakowski. Fine, So I mean, I have more than one smicha, but if you don't want to call me rabbi, don't call me rabbi. But if you're going to come to that conclusion, come on and challenge me properly and have an actual dialogue. I've debated more people than any rabbi alive, at least on social media. I mean, I've debated Michael Brown 5 times. I've debated many people that I've earned the title. I mean, apart from actually having ordination as well. Okay,
Can I ask you a question? Like, I have so many questions, and you're like the first person to answer, like, ever in my life about Judaism. Okay, so can Jewish people marry outside of their religion or
No.
no?
No. Now, Jewish people do marry outside of their religion, but they're not supposed to.
Okay,
According to Jewish law, there is no way to write a marriage document between a Jew and a non-Jew.
so would it be like not so it wouldn't be like valid?
Correct. It wouldn't be valid.
Oh wow, that's crazy. So in
Right?
and
Different. I
huh?
believe but that Muslims are allowed to marry Christians and the Jews, right?
I think
Muslim
only
men.
male Muslims. Go
Right,
ahead.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what state do you live in?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I live in Michigan right now.
All right, Michigan. There's a lot of Muslims there. I've been there. I've been to Dearborn.
Yeah, there's a lot of Jewish people in West Bloomfield.
Oh, I don't know that part of Detroit. Yeah. All right, cool.
There's a I've lived here for a year and a half for work, and I've never seen so many different like areas of different people. Yeah, there's
You know what you're
Dearborn,
gonna
there's
discover?
Hamtramck. Hmm?
You know what you're gonna discover when you read the Torah?
What?
You know what you're going to discover when you read the Torah?
No, I do not.
It's gonna confirm to you that the same God that revealed the Torah also revealed the Quran.
And it's funny. Christians say that every belief system says
Yeah.
Now, the reason it wouldn't do that is because the Torah itself says you can't add or take away from it. So, and it's funny because the Quran says the same thing and the New Testament says the same thing. So, by definition, it can't be the author of the Quran because you have to add to the revelation that we receive in Muhammad.
Here's
So,
the
You
thing. Here's
guys
the
all
thing.
presumed. Did I say I was Muslim?
No, but
I
it's
forgot, but
irrelevant
I
though.
am Muslim. Yes, I am Muslim.
It's still gonna come to the same conclusion.
And in Islam, you're allowed to learn about other religions.
well, as long as
No,
like pagan, what my friend here like defines as pagan. I don't think you're allowed to study about like idolatry and stuff like that. But I think about monotheistic religions. But
no, you
in
can. All this. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
because I know that a lot of groups like ISIS and stuff, they'll go and they'll burn any book that deals with idolatry or statues. They'll knock statues down.
You know what's funny? The things ISIS, like this group did in Iraq, they destroyed statues and they unalive groups of people who have been living there under Muslim rule for over 1,300 years. And no other Muslim ruler, no other caliph, nobody did anything to these statues or to these people. So this shows like this group is like, it's different than any other group, you know what I'm saying? Because like for all these years, Muslims lived there and they didn't do nothing to these people, you know?
Yeah, but you're
It
Shia
shows how,
or Sunni?
huh? No, I'm Muslim.
He's Sunny. If he doesn't know, then he's Sunny.
Okay.
If he doesn't know, then he's Sunni. That's funny. Okay, I have a question. So there's Moses, there's Jesus, there's Adam, there's all these like prophets, right? What prophets are not mentioned in the Quran and in the Bible that are in the Torah? Like,
The prophet. Wait. Okay, so in the Torah, so the Torah is specifically the revelation that we receive from God, but there's other books that we consider special, which is we call it Tanakh, or it's really Nach, the second part of what Christians call the Old Testament, right? Like King David wrote parts of the books of Psalms, and the books of the prophets are also part of our Bible. So basically, every prophet that predated Jesus could be found in the Jewish Bible. But any prophet post Jesus, including John the Baptist, because John the Baptist I think predated Jesus, we consider as being a false prophet.
so okay, let me get this straight. Every prophet after Jesus is considered a false prophet in Judaism.
I mean, after John the Baptist, because John the Baptist I think predated Jesus in his prophecy. Yeah.
What do you
Even
guys
Zechariah.
acknowledge Muhammad?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but
And
I think Zechariah, which is the father of John the Baptist, according to the New Testament, the angel spoke to him. I don't know if that makes him a prophet necessarily. I mean, he wasn't a prophet; gives over a message,
right.
but I mean, he couldn't speak till he was born. Okay, yeah.
Okay. I learned a lot today. I had another question. I had to put myself on mute because it slipped my mind.
Okay. But thank you. I mean, you're extremely, extremely polite.
Thank you. I felt like I was interjecting a lot and
No,
interrupting, but
not
I
at
was
all.
just.
At all. I mean,
Um,
with the handle you have on like your screen name, I thought you were going to be a troll.
oh no. This you know what? I had this page since like 2021, and it's like a hate page for the police department. And then like I've started like jumping on people's lives, but no one was letting me up until I posted a picture of myself.
All right. I get it.
Yeah. Okay, but listen, guys.
Top G. You
I have a
converted to.
question. Oh, man, I'm sorry.
So, what color is your Bugatti?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, bro, I could barely afford a Honda Accord.
All right.
But listen, I have a question for you. I have a question.
Yeah.
So you have to believe in faith that, the Torah has been preserved, right? So when it says don't take anything or add anything or take anything away,
Right.
you believe in faith that nobody did that, right?
No, No. I mean, I believe that Jews did that, not particularly to the Torah, but there's many books that I think Jews over elevate compared to the Torah, whether they shouldn't. But I don't believe. Okay, I'll tell you what. The Torah in particular is not what we call the Torah today. It's the commandments within the Torah, because Torah means instruction, literally. I mean, if you want to take the literal meaning, clearly the story of Genesis wasn't given to Moses on Mount Sinai. Okay, but the commandments. So we believe that those commandments are intact. In terms of the story of Abraham, who Abraham sacrificed, we believe it was Isaac. But that itself doesn't make or break our belief system. If the Torah is in some way falsified or makes you a worse individual, that destroys our belief system.
Mm-hmm. So then, with that logic, with that way of thinking, why not? Well, why could it not be possible for God to reveal a message? Because if it's from God, right, it would be unjust, unfair for him not to be able to like confirm it for you, like you have a definitive proof, right? Like it's okay to have faith or whatever, but the gap between Moses and the earliest Torah we have is too long, right? For you to say like it's been preserved all those years, especially with the wars and the exiles of the Jews, things like that, you know.
I mean, what gap are you talking about?
Like
I mean, it's
between Moses, huh?
okay. So Torah scrolls are always written on animal parchment, okay, and it's hard to preserve. I mean, back then, when there wasn't a real art to preserving anything, to preserve a Torah scroll that's 3,000 years old is quite impossible. What the oldest scroll we have that gives proof to the Jewish people, it is, I believe, a copper scroll. So, I mean, it's not anything written in parchment, and I mean, for sure not papyri. I mean, that's not even animal skins. So, yeah, but regardless, there's books like the Septuagint, which are translations from the Torah, which still have all the commandments intact. It doesn't matter if one Torah scroll happens to have an extra letter here, an extra letter there. That's the argument that atheists make, which is why I'm not even attacking the Quran from that perspective. I'm pretty sure the message is the same in all the Qurans, even though the wording may be different. But it's interesting that when the Quran claims that Jews corrupted the Torah, they never say that we corrupted the laws in the Torah, but the narrative. They'll say that it was Ishmael who was offered and not Isaac.
No. That's irrelevant to us because
What?
Islam, it's not explicit who it was, what son it was. We believe, right?
But the
Because
Quran,
it makes more sense, but the Quran never says it. The Quran doesn't specify which son it was. It says his
right?
son.
No, Islam says it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean, it's
I had a question. So do you guys believe in the apocalypse and doomsday?
So Jews do believe in that, but the Torah doesn't mention it. Okay, I'm just
That's
trying to.
crazy. Like all the like afterlife, doomsday. All right. So you guys
Can I
believe?
have my turn?
Wait. Can you just let her finish asking the question? Go ahead.
So it's not mentioned in the Torah that there's a doomsday or an apocalypse, and then has your Messiah come yet? Are you still waiting for your Messiah?
So Jews are still waiting for the Messiah to come.
But do you
Yes.
have any idea who your Messiah is?
So I'm gonna tell you what. I always make a distinction with what it literally says and what Jews believe, just because I'm trying to give a good representation of our belief system. Jews typically believe it's going to be a political leader. That's it. It's not going to be God incarnate, and it's many times they embellish the idea like he's a superhuman, right, that never dies and stuff like that. There's many Jews who believe that. Yes, they believe that. They also believe in end of the world scenarios, and there's a lot of commentaries in the book of Daniel and stuff like that. I mean, it's not only a Christian idea. I'm not convinced of it because the Torah doesn't mention about the notion of the end of days or the end of the world. So it seems like it's a later developed idea.
Oh wow, Judaism seems chill. There's no upcoming crazy event coming. Okay.
Well, there could be crazy events, but it'll be caused by us.
Right.
Makes sense.
Seems really logical. Seems less scary. I feel bad saying that.
Can I have my turn, please?
Yes, go ahead, Uncle Dan.
Oh no, that wasn't me. That was have fun.
That was me.
Sorry.
Yeah, have fun.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, Rabbi. We have talked before.
Office.
I'm trying to understand about this God you're talking about. What do you call the God you believe in?
What do I call him? Well, the Bible
Yes.
tells us his name is Yud He Vav He. I have to make a separation there, lest the Orthodox people get mad. They'll say Yud Ke Vav Ke. Yeah, share. Yeah, like I am that I am, or I will be what I will be. Okay. Yeah.
So the name is not Yahweh. It is like, what was the name again?
No, it is okay. So in the Bible, we don't have vowels. We have consonants. We don't have vowels. So it's a 4-letter name of God. An attempt to pronounce it will get you to either Yahweh, Yahweh. Uh, it depends how you want to pronounce it. Okay, so that's
Okay.
an attempt to pronounce the 4-letter name of God. Most like Orthodox Jews don't say that name. We typically say Hashem. If we're reading
Hashem.
prayer, we'll say Adonai.
Oh, so it wasn't like supposed to be talking about, right? It is not supposed to be like talking the word,
Right,
the
correct.
name.
So,
Oh, I see.
but
Why?
every Yom Kippur, the high priest would utter the name, and people used to know how the name was pronounced. It even says in the Talmud that it's great to greet people using the name. However, after the destruction of the Second Temple, people forgot how to pronounce the name. And being that the Torah specifically says that God will not forgive someone who, I guess, carries his name in vain, which really means like doing evil in the name of God, people out of reverence to God just say Hashem, the name. But we know what that means or what it points to.
Oh, so it is like a referral to the name that you are not sure how to pronounce.
Right.
So like, why is this the case? Like, why do you not care about to understand, to know the name?
Oh no, we care to understand it. We just don't know how to pronounce it. Just because, again, there's no vowels in written Hebrew nowadays. After the Masoretes, they added, at least textually, vowels so we can pronounce the name without having an actual tradition on how these words are pronounced. I'm pretty sure Islam functions the same way, but you add vowels to the text. I mean, right? I mean,
Yeah,
to make
you guys got that from us. We added the vowel points. You guys copied it from us.
no. We spoke Hebrew before Muslims spoke Arabic.
That's
It's
right. I was about to say something.
No, but the language, the Arabic language, we're the ones that made the vowel points. Fatha, kasra, dhamma. And you guys took it after like 200 years after we missed.
no, it's true. With the actual dots, but there were no dots in ancient manuscripts. So you would have to have had some sort of tradition on how those words were pronounced. Yeah, but it wasn't written until I think post, at least in the Jewish world, post the 9th century. Yeah.
So like the next question will be like, I want to understand this. Let's say this God, okay, because I cannot pronounce like G and then H. I cannot pronounce it. Let's call it, or he or she. I don't understand. Like, let call it God. What is this God wants in Judaism? What is this God? What it is want
Yeah,
from people?
He
yeah.
wants you to keep his commandments. That's all.
Are we in
Com-
Islam? We have to our main purpose is to worship Allah. So like, what is your God
yes,
want from us?
So
yes.
that's not.
What is the commandment?
So that's not the main purpose of the God of Israel. Well, yes and no, because the word worship in Hebrew means to serve. I mean, it's the same word as to work. Avodah means to work, to serve, to worship. The way we worship or we serve our God is by keeping his commandments. So yes, from that perspective, God wants us to worship him by keeping his commandments.
What is the commandments, Rabbi?
There's
Same
600,
thing in Islam.
give or take. Meaning there's actually more. But tradition teaches us there's around 613. These are laws. There's many laws that are recycled in Islam, like not eating pork, uh, keeping the Sabbath, keeping the Passover, loving your neighbor as yourself, honoring your parents. There's many, many laws.
Oh, so basically, like Yeah, because before this, I already think that this is like personal, like in my mind that the Christian and the Muslim, they like it's the religion is copying from the older ones. But like the Jewish like never talk about this. Like loving your neighbors is like the Christian thing, right? And not eating pigs, it's like the Muslim thing. So like can God in the Judaism can you like can the God like do the wrong thing in the Judaism?
No, no. So we believe
Okay.
that
So
God is
so God always right.
Do you guys believe in aliens? Because I think in Islam we acknowledge that there's aliens.
I
Yeah,
don't
yeah, good
Hell no,
question.
we don't. Hell no.
I don't think it's there's no creed that says that we're not allowed to believe in aliens. I don't, I mean the idea that something existed before creation, but there's a belief like that in Judaism that God in some way recreated the world. But I mean the Bible doesn't really speak of it.
Okay. And do you
Maybe
guys go ahead?
sorry, you can go first.
Do you guys believe in magic?
So yes, yes. So the Torah does mention, for example, the magicians of Pharaoh were in some way able to recreate Moses's display of God when he turned his staff into a snake. The more rational teachers in Judaism teach that all this magic is really trickery. It's not really in some way feeding from dark forces because the Jewish Bible doesn't really acknowledge dark forces.
What about the Babylonian Kabbalah?
Rabbi, can
Yeah, right.
Right.
Sure. Yeah, but that's not in the Torah.
can
So
I
yeah.
can I ask the understanding of the like the God that you worship? Is it like more of like there is this one, only this one God that in existence, and like probably also you believe like this one is the true the one, but also there are other gods. Which one is it?
Oh, so we only believe there's only one God.
Oh, I see.
Any other God is a false God. That means they just don't exist. God doesn't share glory with any other thing on this planet. So the idea that some other God could exist that in some way fights against the one true God sounds sort of silly. I mean, we believe like the universe is within God. Who can fight against God?
Okay.
What is the mess? Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So, what is the Messiah? Like,
Messiah.
Messiah. You don't want to like accept like the Christian accept Jesus is Messiah. The Muslim also accept Jesus is probably not necessarily Messiah, but like Prophet Isa. But like you don't even have Jesus in your scriptures. So what is Jesus to you? What is like how do you explain the Messiah and when will it come?
So the idea of the Messiah is first and foremost a Jewish means it predated the New Testament and it predated Islam. At least Islam as it appears in the Quran. So Mashiach, which is a Hebrew way of saying it, means someone who's mashach. Someone who's anointed with oil, physically anointed with oil. The understanding is that he would be a king, because according to Jewish law and tradition, kings are anointed with oil. Although the Torah doesn't say that you anoint kings, Jewish tradition teaches that kings are anointed. So we're waiting for a king like David to, in some way, usher us out of the exile. And that's all we were waiting for. This is why, even after the death of Jesus, the Israelites coronated a Messiah. His name was Bar Kokhba. They coronated him because they thought that he was going to drive out the Romans. He failed. He was killed by the Romans. Thus, we declared him as a false Messiah because Jews are essentially waiting for a political leader. And
Oh,
the
so it
Okay,
is
reason
how
more
will
like
you
a
know when
lord.
that's the Messiah? How will you know?
we don't know.
That's
A Messiah,
difficult then.
every king is a form of Messiah, just like every priest, every high priest in Judaism
Oh,
is anointed
So
with.
if someone comes and helps the Jewish community, like at a different level ever
Yeah,
happened, you know what I mean? Then
our
would you
Dajjal is
consider?
their our Dajjal is their Messiah.
Okay, okay, I understand that perspective in Islam. But like what if someone comes and really does a lot for the Jewish community, right? Like would you consider them like a lot? Like I don't know, to like a grand scale, would you consider them the Messiah?
So some rabbis say yes. For example, Maimonides. I mean, he's also famous in Islam. He was a personal doctor of Saladin, Musa ibn Maimon. So he wrote that if an individual shows up and he gathers the Jewish people like in unison, and he helps rebuild the temple and helps Israel go back to the Holy Land, then he is for sure the Messiah. But there's so many different opinions on who the Messiah is that, I mean, it's not a monolithic idea in Judaism. There's many. I mean, don't forget, Jesus was Jewish. His followers were Jewish, and they declared him the Messiah. And there have been many false messiahs in Jewish history. So that shows that we don't have one understanding of who the Messiah is. I mean, mainly because the Torah itself doesn't even talk about a Messiah, but at least not literally. It seems also
So
to be, I mean, sort of a developed idea.
so Rabbi, there can be more than one Messiah, right? In this perspective, so they can be like, it is more like hero, Lord or hero, right? The one who
Mm,
saves you, right? Not necessarily have to be the holy one or something like that, right?
no.
In the perspective, but like depending on the different perspective.
So there is one opinion in the Talmud. Well, it probably appears in two places that there is a Mashiach ben Yosef, a Mashiach ben David, like Messiah, like a Messiah like Joseph and Messiah like David. That's only one section. I don't think the average Jew even believes in that. Christians believe in it because they try to justify a second coming with that. There's even Mashiach ben Ephraim that most people don't talk about, and Mashiach ben Aaron that most people don't talk about. But no, the average Jew nowadays is just waiting for one Messiah, not many Messiahs. And I mean, someone wrote in the comment here that Messiah means messenger. Messiah does not mean messenger. It literally means anointed with oil. Like in Hebrew, that's what it means. Mashach.
Someone wrote in the comments the Messiah must bring peace to the entire world. Or is it just exclusive to the Jewish community?
So that's what a lot of Jews believe. Like Maimonides, who's probably the most respected rabbi who talks about the Messiah, doesn't believe that. I mean, he says that he's just going to bring peace to Israel. So there's many different opinions on it.
The whole world needs saving.
Yeah. I'm not convinced in that notion of the Messiah. I mean, I just believe the Messiah will be a Jewish king, but I mean, the world. I mean, it's up to the world to square themselves away. I mean, it's not up to the Jews to. I mean, it's up to the Jews to be a light to them, but not to force people into doing anything.
So is the Messiah can be also a prophet?
Yeah, for sure. No, the understanding is pretty much that Mashiach will also be like a Navi. I mean, not that he's going to in any way bring a new message, but being that he's going to bring Israel back to Torah observance, that's pretty much the job of the prophet.
My understanding is like, but this is very good. I mean, I respect this. Like this is nicer than the others belief, I think. So like the Messiah, it's like a human being, just a human being, right? In my understanding, and someday it will also pass away, right?
According, again, according to Maimonides, the Messiah will eventually die and his son will take over. It's just like a regular
Oh,
kingly line.
He said it's not a king, right? Anointed with oil.
Right. However, there's some rabbis, those who are more mystical and Kabbalistically inclined, like what they believe in Kabbalah, who believe the Messiah is never going to die. So there's different opinions.
Can I
I
ask a
see.
question? Have fun.
What? Oh.
Me?
Yeah. Or do you
Yeah.
come? What religion do you base off of? Since I'm just wondering.
I'm an agnostic.
Are you from the Philippines?
Not necessarily, but I'm from
Mm.
Asia.
Oh, okay. I was just trying to pinpoint your accent. Do you
Pretty good.
come?
Good. You get
Yeah, can be Philippines, can be other places
Why not? Why not just tell me?
Are you Indonesian?
because I I don't want to. I'm not going to like telling
But
where I live to
Because
like
I
random
was just
people.
asking because like
Mhm.
if you're learning about monotheistic religions, if I mean, I was wondering if you're coming from any other kind of religion. I was just curious because it's like for you to come all the way here and ask those questions. That's kind of cool, you know, to branch from
Yeah.
that to this.
Here,
Look, so I have been like
here, have fun.
being like
What's
yeah,
with?
sorry, Rabbi.
Okay, but does this mean anything to you? Jay Javan,
Yes, I
Jay Kisan,
I like
Jay Bara.
I like to listen to you, you know. I like to listen to you, Rabbi, because I came from the place that is not very okay to talk like other religion, especially like Judaism. It's like being hated. And I like to learn. I love to learn. This is why I became agnostic, because when you are being oppressed and you just curious and you don't really want to be in that place in the same in this religion anymore, because it is very tiring if you oppress people to be inside it.
where are
Shukri.
you at? Indonesia? Was it a Muslim country?
Did you talk to me?
Yeah.
What did you say?
Was it Indonesia?
He already said he doesn't want to
Probably not
answer.
necessarily.
Is it a
Yeah,
Muslim country?
All I can say is like I'm from Asia, and that's it.
okay.
Probably
Muslim or
Indonesia,
Hindu?
That's
probably
Shukriya, right?
Philippines, probably other place, Malaysia, probably Thailand. Who knows?
Oh my
Bro, you have
goodness!
197
Wow.
followers. You have
Pakistan.
no profile picture. Why can't you just tell us, bro? It's not a big deal.
All right, got
Should
you.
I have like taught my documents like details my profile just to ask question? I
No,
You
I
can
don't
lie.
think
It's
so, right?
okay. I was
You can
just
even lie.
curious
You can
because
lie.
maybe you could tell
Curious.
us about your background. I'm curious about all religions.
yeah. I mean, no one's
Yeah,
picking
yeah,
where you're
me
from. It's
too.
No pressure.
uh, like
I'm
from
a
other
client picture.
here. FUCK. Like, can you give us like a nickname? What's the one like we were?
My name is Jasmine.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, my name is Hafan. It's like the,
Hassan?
the the one you read here. So that strange people when people ask, really your name is Hafan? Yes, my name is Hafan. Just call me Hafan. That's my name.
You lying.
You could call me Jasmine. That is my government name.
You can call me Clay. I'm Chef Clay. I cook.
You like Cassius Clay?
Like, yeah, it's just Clay. Yep.
Oh,
Please, Cassius Clay.
Here's my backup account.
And
oh,
there's Uncle Dan.
Dan.
You have like probably 10,000 account, Clay. I know you.
Yeah.
You have been
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like the Trinity. I'm omnipresent.
Give me recipe. I like cooking.
First you have to be Muslim,
Mm.
right?
Oh my
And
god,
then
goodness.
anybody,
What is your profile picture? Have fun. What is that tape?
Oh, this is do you know the psychological test?
What? No.
Yeah, when you see something and then you try to describe, oh, okay, this is probably what do you see from my profile picture? I can describe your personality and your life.
Oh, it's one of those.
Oh, I see a ribbon.
Yeah, it's called the mnemonic device. I think they call it. No.
I see a
If you
Quran.
see if you see a ribbon, then you like beautiful things. You think from the positive side of the mind of
Okay,
the
I see a
things.
baby cradle. I see a baby cradle. Tell me.
Tape. It looks like
Oh,
tape covering something.
it's if it is baby cradle, then your mind is like to learn to have like when you see something you have question and then you try to produce answer.
I try to
If
produce answer.
ribbons
No.
meaning
One thing I
you
go
like,
by is if I don't know, I don't know.
Mm.
yeah, if the ribbons, that means that you like to talk about your what you're thinking. You don't really care about what people feels about it, but like if you want to talk about it, you will talk about it.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
so
Okay.
you are like, I don't give a shit about other people thinking. I will just say it. If I feel that this is the truth, then I will say it. If it's
Yeah.
ribbon, that's the meaning.
So you made up all those three answers? That's crazy. Did you make it up that it's a test on the spot?
I'm
No,
about to
no,
Google
it
it.
is a psychological test. I told you it's a psychological test.
Okay, I believe you.
At first, I thought you said it's a cyclist test. I was like, what does it have to do with bicycles?
No, psychological.
Somebody wrote in the comment, "You're a telephone psychologist."
No, I'm not even a psychologist.
You mean like Matt and Cleo? Call me now.
But yeah, Rabbi, I respect you so much. So next question will be like if I try to be like Jewish, can I just like go to the local like gatherings, the
Yeah.
synagogues,
Synagogue. Did I say it right? Synagogue.
Okay.
synagogues, yeah.
If you live in Asia, you're gonna have a hard time. So
Oh, there is not even single Jewish here. People hate them. But like, if I go to like America, like, can I just go to inside?
that's right.
Will they like tell me to fuck off or something?
No.
Language.
As long as you
Sorry.
respect, and of course, I mean, look nice, and yeah, the average synagogue will be welcoming. Okay, I can't speak for every Jew. I just came back from India. Every year I go to India to make Jewish people, make converts, and build Jewish communities because people can't convert there. And we're actually going
Oh,
to next year. So
yeah.
I know it's very hard in Asia for people to convert to Judaism. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, even trying to learn about Judaism, it is not possible in my place because, like I think you can figure out by this point, like the people around us, like, just literally dislike the Jewish the religion,
Yeah.
especially not because like the religion, especially because of the political situation, and the country itself doesn't support Jewish to come because it is like the country is like there is a lot of religious people in the government that don't want it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I get it. You're from Russia. Understand.
No, what are you talking about? There's a lot of Jews in Russia.
No, he's
No,
not.
Russia is not in Asia, dude.
No, it is partially. Don't
Part
check
of
your
Yeah.
Eurasia.
zones.
Oh yeah,
Tricky.
yeah, but not in Russia, not in Russia. I'm not in Russia.
Kazakhstan.
No. I think it's
Dude,
either
Bosnia.
stop trying
India.
to. What's better with you,
It's
Clay?
South
What the hell?
Asian.
I'm
Yeah,
curious.
he
I'm very
has Indian
curious.
name. Yep.
Curiosity kills the cat.
I know I'm about to die.
That's it.
I think he's Indian.
Jai Javan, Jai Kisan, Jai Bharat.
Tucci is Variatati.
People
Kada
start trying to figure out like what the.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Acha Acha.
Acha,
No,
yeah.
no. I
No.
don't want. No, I don't want to.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So next like question. So is it like in the history? So like the Muslim, the Christian trying to unalive the polytheists, right? But like I don't know about the Jewish. Is it like from the God teaching to like enslave or like abolish all the polytheists or what?
Yes, outside of the land of Israel. Now, the land of Israel today is a secular country. It doesn't speak for biblical Israel. But our religion is counterculture, meaning that only because something is done socially doesn't mean it's accepted by our religion, right? But the main things that are prohibited in Islam are also prohibited in Judaism. Like, for example, the act of homosexuality is not tolerated within the borders of biblical Israel. One has to keep the Sabbath in order to live in biblical Israel. One has to not eat leavened products during Passover. There's many laws that only apply. Well, virtually all the laws in the Torah only really apply in the land of Israel. If someone, for some reason, didn't want to be part of Israel or didn't want to keep those laws anymore, they could just leave the land. Israel doesn't.
Oh,
Israel doesn't have a vision of a global caliphate.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the Tel Aviv is the capital of Israel? Tel Aviv.
No, Jerusalem.
yeah.
Okay, is Is Tel Aviv? Did I say that right?
Yeah, Tel Aviv. Yeah.
Tel Aviv. Is it Jewish?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's interesting. In the Bible, Jews didn't live there. That was the land of the Philistines.
So okay. So why? Okay. Or Aviv, Tel Aviv. Okay. All right. What's going on there? Like, I don't want to be controversial.
She's
Is
trying
it?
to ask why is Palestine isn't free.
But there's nothing controversial in Tel Aviv. It's not disputed territory. I mean,
No, I'm talking about homosexuality down there. Is it?
Oh, very good
yeah.
question, sister.
Thank you. I don't know what's going
Good
down.
job. You did a
But
good
Tel
one.
Aviv has more gay parades in it than I think any city in the world.
Right.
Wait,
Why?
what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. No, Israel is not a religious country. There's a lot of religious people
So,
in it. I mean, for example,
so,
Jerusalem is religious.
so, so not like in my place, like in my city, like the government in my place is like when they can declare like a national like fasting months because of the religion in the government, but like is it like the Jewish also hold the power in the government over there? Like something like
Is
fasting months or like religious rituals?
Not religious Jews. I mean, religious Jews have very little power in the government. So religious Jews stay with religious Jews, and secular Jews stay with secular Jews. So
What?
it's essentially two worlds. BP Netanyahu is not an observant Jew. Right?
oh,
There's Jews, and then there's Jews who are many times atheistical. So this is why
What?
before you hear a Jew tell you about Judaism, always ask them, "Are you religious?" Because Jews who are not religious typically try to distort what the Bible says. They'll say that
what are
sexuality.
conventional Jews? Are you a conventional Jew?
I don't know what that is. What's a conventional?
Don't let. I thought that was a thing. I mean,
Oh,
what are American Jews? What are they called?
Orthodox.
oh, conservative. You mean conservative Jew?
I meant to say that. My
Yeah.
bad.
No, so
Is it
conservative
like
is a little less observant. I'm Orthodox. I'm what's called modern Orthodox. So I don't have a long beard.
um
Like ultra
that's
Orthodox, longer beards.
a bit confusing, Rabbi. That's a
Yeah,
bit confusing.
Jews
Did
aren't very.
you like are like the conservative like in America they support Donald Trump? Do you also support like Donald Trump or stuff like that?
Okay, wait.
Because you're
Yeah.
conservative?
So conservative.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Conservative Jews in America are not conservative politically. Conservative just
What?
means that they're a little more religiously conservative than Reform. But conservative Jews are typically on the left. They're anti Donald Trump, and Reform Jews are anti Donald Trump. The only Jews that are pro Donald Trump are Orthodox Jews in the vast majority of cases. In the vast majority of cases.
I'm
Uh,
confused.
I supported Donald Trump because, I mean, not just because I'm an Orthodox Jew, but because I believe in the Bible. Like, just like most religious people in America typically vote for right wing groups.
Wait. So you have in the government you have people who like the LGBT who supported LGBT, also who are being atheists, and you also have in the government people who support Donald Trump. How can you mix them together?
Wait. Are you talking about the Israeli government or the American government?
The Israeli, of course.
Oh, yeah. So there's, I mean, for example, the conservative parties, the right wing parties in Israel support right wing parties in America. But typically, people who are LGBT are on the left, and they typically don't like what religious people like. They don't vote what we vote for, and they don't vote for the right typically. Typically, I mean, I know gay people who are right wing, but in the vast majority of cases, they're on the left.
So the atheists don't believe in Messiah or still believe in Messiah because like the determination, the meaning of Messiah is like Lord or hero or like
Did you just say
um
atheists?
Yeah, atheists don't
yeah,
believe.
atheists.
I mean, why would they believe in a religious notion?
So just like normal atheists then.
Yes, normal. I mean, they're Jewish. They happen to have Jewish mothers, but that doesn't mean that they're religious in any way or important to God in any way.
Okay. I want to go back to why is there so much gayness in going on in Tel Aviv?
Well, homosexuality mainly, right?
I'm
So,
about to drop before I get banned.
Israel. I mean, it's no secret is I think, voted the gay capital of the world. And you guys can look this up, and in particular, Tel Aviv.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's
However,
interesting.
Jerusalem is the holiest city in the world, right? And it's important to both Christians, Jews, and Muslims. So there's a mixture of both in Israel. There's two extremes. There is no Reform and conservative Judaism doesn't really exist in Israel. I mean, the conservative movement just came out there. Well, they're called Masorti, but it's very small. But in Israel, people are typically religious or they're extremely on the left. There are some people who are traditional, but they're not too involved in politics. While religious people are typically right wing causes, and atheistical Jews typically vote for left wing causes. So it's just like in America. In America, I would say 10% of Jews are religious, and 80% are extremely on the left, and then 10% probably don't even care. So with the vast majority of Jews didn't vote for Donald Trump. The vast majority of Jews don't support right-wing causes in America. The vast majority of religious, but not secular Jews, which are
Interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
that's very interesting. I thought like all the Jews supported like the right wing in America and everybody there is right wing. So like, but I see some people being LGBT. So now you're talking that even the Israel there are so many LGBT people. So that's like confused me for a bit.
Okay, here we have
Yeah, I live in Southern California. There's a lot of LGBT here.
my friend Hebrew Hammer is here to politely explain more about the Jewish people.
Well, no, I mean, what you're saying is accurate. The 70% of Jews in the United States voted Democrat in the last presidential election, but in the Orthodox community, I think it's like 90% vote Republican. So it's heavily Republican the more religious you get. And that tends to be the case not just for Jews, by the way. The more religious you are, period, the more likely you are to vote Republican.
So Rabbi, what do you think about like America, about the West, the Western like culture, the Western countries?
We're in decline, unfortunately. And this is why I think someone like Donald Trump's side, this is why he rant on the statement of MAGA, making America great again, because we've lost our ways. We used to export good values, and now we export bad ideas. So it's a shame. It's a shame. Yeah.
True.
Is it like probable that the Messiah will like suddenly come and like save this decline, save everyone?
So I don't believe in bailouts, and I don't believe in celestial. I mean, I think God is not going to do anyone a favor if we destroy the planet. He's in some way going to come bail us out. No, if God gave us instructions, it's because He expected us to square ourselves away, and if we don't do it, that's it.
That's pretty real, but what about oppressed people?
Then they have to fight back.
Okay.
We have a commandment in our Torah to burn the evil from amongst our midst. That means if there are any tyrants like floating around, it's because people haven't, declared death to tyrants. I don't know. Yeah.
I personally think your religion very interesting, Rabbi. I personally think that. I respect you very much.
All right, I appreciate it. I'm just.
But I don't know, like how do I start to learn how like in here like they don't like it. Every time there is problem like in Palestine, they will make riot. So like nobody likes Jewish here. So yeah, they're like being anti-Semitism.
Where's here?
Politics here, really.
I'm in
I
Asia.
think he's from India.
Oh, India.
No, I'm
India.
not from India. I'm not from India. India loves Jewish people.
Yes, there are Indian Jews. Where's here when you said here?
No, I cannot say the country, but I am from Asia because for my
Okay.
own safety, I must like not say my where I am.
It's got to be Indonesia or Malaysia. Probably Malaysia.
Probably.
Malaysia is a very anti-Semitic country.
So like the government, yeah, probably. So like the government, like even the government, like not curse. What is the English word for like saying things that they disagree with the Jewish? what is the name in English? The word, I don't have the word.
Condemn?
Or
They declare that they disagree with they declare that they take sides on the conflict. You know what is they call it?
the Palestinian conflict? Or...
Yeah. They declare that they hate they curse you, like they don't like. I don't I'm not taking sides. You know, I'm trying
Take a
to
number.
like learn about Judaism.
Yeah, that's fine.
Take a number.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to bed, you guys. Pray for me, whatever religion y'all are, all the time. I'll try to do the same.
Yeah, well, come back and go ahead and friend me
Okay,
or follow me, whatever.
Very nice, sister. Goodbye.
I'm gonna follow you too. Have fun. Bye
Lila
bye.
took.
Yeah, I will follow you.
All right, Jasmine, take it easy.
I have so many questions. Many people have so many questions with the Judaism because like people only see on the news all the time that oh, Judaism is all about hate. All the Jewish people are hate. Everything is like hate. And but we when I talk with you, I don't sense any hate, right? I sense that you are willing to like give me chance to talk, give me like knowledge. It is very respectful.
Yeah. Well, Jews hate also.
Different in the media. It's totally 100% different. It's confusing, you know.
So God tells us that unless we hate evil, we can't truly love good. But that means we first have to declare things evil, and and the bulk of what appears in the media is baseless hatred, and it's all backed by politics, not reality. So
Yeah.
no, Jews are open to dialogue in the vast majority of cases. Yeah.
More than anything, we just want to be left alone.
That's very good reason. I mean, to be left alone is very good. I mean,
Well,
you don't care about the word. You want word
no, no, no,
not
no,
to
no, no, no,
like.
no, no. We absolutely care about the world, but we've learned through 2,000 years of history that there are segments of the world that, for a variety of reasons, do not like us, and that dislike manifests itself in violence, in pogroms, in holocausts, and so forth and so on. And so you have a lot of Jews. Asher is not one of them, and I consider myself in a similar category, though not the same category as Asher, who would like to talk more about Judaism and talk more about the ethics and the history. Asher has a different modus operandi than I do, but it's the same concept of not being ashamed, of being proud of who we are, proud of our heritage, proud of our belief system, proud of where we come from and where we've come to. And there have been very, very famous people in the world who have recognized the importance of the Jews. John Adams had a couple of particularly amazing quotes about the Jews. Mark Twain, same thing. Um, so it just depends on which Jew you're talking to.
I have a good question. Like, why is like a lot of scientists, a lot of smart people came from the Jewish community? How can this happen? What do you guys eat? Do you have like different meal or something?
All right, go ahead, Abraham. You got this.
Well, I'll give you my answer. And so, genetically speaking, Ashkenazi Jews actually do have a higher IQ on average than the average population. It's about 115 to 100. But my belief, because I don't think there's any inherent genetics that make us smarter. Here's my belief, and you have to kind of know the history of our people to have an understanding of this. So, in Europe, we had these little Jewish communities, and they tended to make, or what were called shtetls. And what they did was they made the smartest kid, young adult, the rabbi. And the rabbi's job was obviously to be a rabbi, to tend to his people and to teach Torah and so forth and so on. And he didn't work. He was supported by the community. And he had two real jobs, to spread Torah, teach the Torah, and to have children. And the fact of the matter is, genetically speaking, when smart people have kids with other smart people, the odds of you having smart kids goes up. That's just genetics. From a value standpoint, we've always valued education, but not education just for the sake of learning, education for the sake of challenging our mind. We question, we doubt, we don't necessarily accept the narrative that's being told to us. We're told to question. Asher questions, I question him, he questions me, and we still get along and we're still buddies, even though we can disagree about things. And it's this idea that the mind, well, to use a cliche, the mind is a terrible thing to waste. And in the Jewish belief system, education and exercising the mind is very important.
I see. So next question, like, do you have the concept of in here they call it like, oh, you don't want to believe in my religion, you are just like kafir or something like that, kufar. Do you have
No, no,
such concept and like we have to go to jihad to like unalive everybody? Do you have?
no.
Okay, so
No
within
jihad.
the land of Israel, within the biblical borders of Israel, we have somewhat of an idea that's similar to that. However, that we don't have a global vision for the world in that perspective. Like Islam has a global caliphate. If for some reason you didn't want to live under Jewish law, you would just leave the borders of Israel. So that we don't force anyone. Now, technically, if we would expand the borders of Israel to reach the whole world, then you'd be in trouble. But I don't see that happening. Yes, I mean, Orthodox Judaism teaches that the bare minimum for someone who lives in the land of Israel is to at least keep what's called the 7 laws of Noah, if they don't have a Jewish parent, a a, a Jewish mother. And if for some reason you have this, I don't know, like proclivity to eat cheeseburgers or to like work on the Sabbath, it would behoove you to leave the land of Israel. Or like if you were a homosexual, right? We're not saying that homosexuality is necessarily an unethical act. From a Torah perspective, it's an unholy act that is not tolerated within the borders of Israel. But if for some reason that's what you wanted to do, you could do it in Greece, you could do it in Egypt, but you couldn't do it in the Holy Land. So, in terms of coercion, we don't coerce people to become Jewish, or coerce people to keep laws that they haven't accepted.
So, is it like just the action of the like LGBT, or is it like to be an LGBT you are not allowed in the Holy Land? If you being LGBT but you don't act upon it, can you still be in the land?
Well,
Yes, you
why would you?
yes you can.
But
Meaning,
why would you do that?
fall in love with another man, you're allowed to live in the land of Israel. However, it's the act of lying with a man as you would with a woman that's prohibited. The Torah itself doesn't prohibit lesbianism, but the oral law does prohibit lesbianism. But the oral law is essentially the rulings of the court. So if a woman was going to act out anything sexual with another woman, she should also leave the land of Israel. She wouldn't be killed, but she would be lashed. If I'm just telling you what the actual law is. Yeah.
But it doesn't happen in practice. Let's be clear about that.
Well,
In
nowadays,
practice, we
then
don't do that.
You mean the lashing?
you know,
We don't do anything to people who are gay simply for being gay. Asher's correct with his theological perspective. I'm just talking about the day-to-day reality of being gay in Israel. Is you're fine. There's no. As a matter of fact, I'm planning a trip to Israel, and it's going to. And I'm not saying this because it's gay. I'm saying this because it's going to be super crowded.
where you're taking.
It's going to be overlapping gay Pride Week, which is just really sucks because it's like 400,000 more people come into the country at that time. And it just makes it a
Yeah,
nightmare
like
to get around. So we're
they
probably
don't
going to go up
allow
north.
this.
We're going to
They
go to
don't allow
Jerusalem
this.
and go up north for that week so that we're not in Tel Aviv, so that we
The same thing
can't
happened.
find any parking.
But I went to Disney World on Gay Day, and everyone
Oh
was
God.
shirts, and I'm like, what's going on? It was Gay Day.
Yeah. All my kids
So
want to do is go to the beach and hang out, and it's like, well, that's going to be tough during Gay Pride. That's going to be a
yeah,
little
like
crowded.
guy kissing guy. I understand. Like in this place in my city, they literally have zero tolerance. But like they act upon it. They not just these people. They put them in prison if they dare to kiss in public. If they dare to announce themselves like, "Oh, I'm LGBT." In here,
Are
they
you a
will
Muslim?
put you down.
Are you a
I am
Muslim?
I am not I'm not I'm agnostic. I
Oh,
never I'm agnostic.
are
I
you in a
respect
Muslim
life.
country?
Probably.
Okay. Isn't everyone created in God's image, though? Didn't God create us all? I mean, from that perspective, I get that there's, prohibitions in all the different religions on that, but at the same time, God did create us all. We are all children of God. So there's sort of a
Yeah,
dichotomy there.
I
Almost.
agree with that. But those people like they will not agree with you, and they are majority.
Well,
I'm not trying to risk my life.
no,
To say that.
I don't want you to risk your life. Definitely don't do that.
I respect the LGBT. I have a lot of LGBT friends. I have a lot of friends from the Muslim. I have a lot of friends from the Christian. I talk with the Jewish. I'm friend with Rob. I also friend. Do you know Rob? The PDF Rob.
Rob, there's got to be a
Yes,
lot of Robs in the world.
I'm friend with Rob. Rob
Rob
the
who?
PDF. I don't know the long name, but I have his friend in his account. He's friend of mine in my account right now. I also friend with Hindus and Buddhists, and I try to learn about every religion. It is very interesting and respectful to learn, right? It is not just I shout and I yell to you that, oh, you are not good. It is respectful to learn about you.
Mm.
Somebody wrote Rob Schneider. That was funny. That made me laugh.
Yeah, he's Jewish, isn't he?
Yeah, he's definitely Jewish. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Rob Lowe was actually just in Israel at the wall. It
Oh,
was,
he's
huh?
Rob Lowe's Jewish. I didn't know that.
I don't know if he's Jewish or not, but he was at the wall. I saw there was an article about it. I don't know if he's Jewish or not. I know
I know
my
Rob.
wife thinks he's gorgeous, but that's a separate issue.
Yeah, I mean, he looks
So
more.
if
He gets older. Rob Bass
Rabbi,
is he Jewish? Rob Bass.
Yeah, Rob Bay. I know Rob Bass, of course.
I'm Rob
Rabbi,
Bass.
It takes
is
two. It
there
takes
any
two to make
chance?
things go right. these these youngsters, Osher, don't know what we're talking about here with Rob Bass. They don't know that stuff. That's too
I'm
old school.
but I'm known to rock the microphone because I get stupid. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Rob Bass.
So, Rabbi, another question, Rabbi. Is there any chance that the Jewish can have new prophet later? There will be like new prophet that make new prophecies about the word, about
That's
God.
a good question.
There's different opinions on this. The most popular opinion, which I happen to disagree with, is that after the destruction of the Second Temple, it says in the Talmud that God only gave prophecy to children and to crazy people. But Maimonides never held to this opinion. One, I mean, the Torah never said prophecy would cease, so why should we assume it? So,
Does it say anywhere in the Tanakh that, because I know Malachi is the last prophet, but there's nothing that says,
well, we don't know that. I mean, he was the last prophet. I mean, it's just that with the last book written in Tanakh, but that doesn't mean it's the last prophet. It was the rabbis who
fair
compiled.
enough.
But who are they to say that prophecy ended?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
Uh,
Interesting.
is there any chance that you will rebuild the the main temple in Jerusalem, or
I don't
like what is the problem with it?
well, so the problem is that the politicians in Israel are not religious. We had an opportunity to build it in 1967 when we had the Temple Mount, and we just gave it back to the essentially the Jordanians. Um,
What a
so
mistake.
the truth is, I don't want there to be another temple currently because the bigger question is that who's going to run it, right? I mean, I
Right.
don't think Satmar or Toldus Haran or Bubba for Chabad running the temple or building a Sanhedrin. I mean, in Israel, I like there being a separation of synagogue and state because right now the religious people haven't shown that they're responsible enough to deal with real problems, unfortunately.
I wonder why. I haven't read up on about it enough. I actually should. Why we gave back the Temple Mount, especially so quickly? Like well, maybe you know, Osher. What was? I'm sure the idea was let's you
Appease
know
them. Oh,
reach out and show a little humility and victory or something to that effect. But I'm not aware of like if there was any specific reasoning behind it, because boy, it sure has led to a lot of trouble.
You think so? I mean, apart from
Yeah,
rocks over the wall, can you imagine the fighting? I mean, have you ever been to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre? Most Jews don't walk
I
into,
have. Yeah.
but there's just the fights between the Greek Orthodox and the Coptics and all this stuff. Fist fights. I mean, you could imagine.
Oh yeah, I know about that.
I've
It
been
is
in the
like
Dome of the Rock. I've
in
been
the
inside the.
video.
Usher, have you been inside the Dome of the Rock? I've been inside there.
So not inside, but
I
I've
was
been.
inside.
But there's a place where Orthodox Jews do go, and they give you like this little map with less what you step on where the Holy of Holies is, and they tell you to go to a mikvah like before you go. So
Right.
I did, and I walked around because they let you go very early in the morning, but you can't pray up there. At
Right.
least now you could. Well, I don't know.
No, you can't. You still can't pray. I mean, you could do silent, right? They don't know what's going on in your head, but you can't openly pray. Yeah, I was in the dome, inside the Dome of the Rock in 1988 during the first Intifada, and it was amazing. Like calling that thing a rock is kind of underselling it. It is huge. Like it is a huge, I don't know, boulder or whatever you call it, and it's suspended. So there's level. So you walk in and you're in the second level, and you see it suspended, and there's a level below. It's actually quite impressive. Yeah, I went in 1988. I also went to Gush Katif in 1988 as well,
Oh,
before we gave back Gaza. Uh, yeah, and I've been to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. That was kind of cool. That was kind of cool too. Fortunately, I was I was 13 years old. It was for my bar mitzvah, so you don't have an appreciation of stuff when you're 13 compared to when you're older. Like when I go to Israel the next time, I'm hoping a friend of mine can get me up to the Temple Mount, and hopefully,
yeah, Ben
we'll
Shapiro.
see. Well, I ain't Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, like Jews could go early in the morning.
Right.
Yeah, there's a specific time. But that stone in the Dome of the Rock, I think that's the one they claim that Abraham like offered Isaac on, and that's a stone that Jacob put his head on. There's a bunch of myths around it, and it's a
Yes.
relic.
Yes. Right. Correct.
Not a
Yes.
mosque.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's
It
it's.
is now.
Oh,
It is
really?
now. Yeah.
Ah,
It didn't used to be a mosque, but they built, and this is after they built sort of like an ADU, like a separate unit off to the side.
mm,
And then what they will also do is, and we're going to see this coming up for Ramadan, when there's overflow from Al-Aqsa because of something significant, they will use it as a mosque. But technically speaking, yes, correct. It was not built as a mosque. Correct. Al-Aqsa is the mosque. I've not been in Al-Aqsa, but seen it, but not been inside of it. And then Ramadan is what, here in 3 days.
yeah,
Like,
I don't think non-Muslims could enter Al-Aqsa or the Mosque of
yeah.
Omar.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild month for Israel. I hope they make it through. It's going to be a really, really challenging month.
So
Really.
Rabbi and Hammer, I respect you guys. I willing to talk again probably in few days later if you have times. But like I have to go now. Thank you very much
Sure.
for all the knowledge. Much respect and hope you all stay safe. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Lahitrot. Asher, do you speak Hebrew?
I lived in Israel for 5 years. I mean, it's
Right.
okay, but I've forgotten most of my Hebrew.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he
It's
got
not
to
an easy.
name.
It's not an easy language.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I did a lot of translating of texts because I haven't been in yeshiva for a while, and then I noticed that now it's too easy to cheat. Chat GPT, it's amazing for translating Hebrew. It's like word for word. It's like 99.5% there. I mean, it's not.
Really?
It's like amazingly accurate. I mean, it's not like Google Translate. Google Translate is like a 40% translation, if that.
Right.
89%. It's amazing. Chat GPT for translating Hebrew. It's amazing. Even nekudot. If you're trying to read something that doesn't have nekudot, just type it in Chat GPT and says, and type in add vowels, and they add in the nekudot. It's amazing.
Interesting. I gotta look it up. I gotta look it up. Scares me a little bit, all this AI stuff. It's a little out there.
It's a new world. Yeah,
Yeah, it sure is.
I mean, I heard Joe Rogan say that anyone who's around 30 years old nowadays are expected to live to 150. And I'm thinking, like, boy, I mean, I just turned 45.
Uh,
I missed it by 15 years.
that sounds a little optimistic
And
about
he's
it. Then the question is, do you really want to live to 150 years old? You know what I mean? Like, what's the quality of life for someone that's 142 years old? Exactly.
that's yeah. I mean, that's the argument Seinfeld, Kramer made. It's like, I just pull the plug.
Yeah, right.
So, pull it like you're starting a lawnmower.
Yeah.
Okay, so someone asked the question, what's the role of a rabbi? I think this is an important question. Though the average person who uses the title rabbi uses it incorrectly today. The job of a rabbi is not to be a life coach or a spiritual leader. He's there only to give you Jewish law. That's the job. The Talmudic understanding of a rabbi is only to give over Jewish law. That's it. Not advice. I mean, nowadays in Israel, it's common that the yeshiva bacher won't even go on a flight without asking his rabbi if it's a good idea. So that's not the role of a rabbi. So this show, I barely even talk about Jewish law, really. So I mean, I'm just kind of
To acknowledge that things do change, over a period of time.
Not Judaism. I mean, according to an Orthodox person, right?
No. I'm not denying it. At all. I'm not arguing with it. I'm just saying, over time, because of our diaspora experience, the rabbi's role was obviously changed and grew because, in some of these little shtetls, you needed kind of an authority figure, right, to sort of help with the day-to-day management and with some of the legal issues. And yes, I mean, granted, the rabbis.
No, I get it. Yeah, but
But
they would be called rabbi. But the term rabbi nowadays is a ceremonial term. It was invented in 1535 because the rabbinate disappeared in the 4th century of the Common Era when the Sanhedrin was disbanded.
right.
The rabbis, the judges who sat in the Sanhedrin had the title rabbi. Even the teachers you had in Babylon weren't called rabbi. So the Rambam wasn't called rabbi. I mean, he wasn't called the Rambam either because the Rambam is an acronym that they gave him later on. Because, I mean, Rambam is Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon. So back then, our teachers were called Chacham or even Mori. Like in Cheder, they call the teachers like Mora. I mean, it just means teacher. But the term rabbi wasn't used till post the 16th century, 1535, the Common Era. So nowadays, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't, because we don't have any authority anyways.
Right.
They had the authority to put people to death. I mean, they had the authority to charge people amounts they have to pay. We have courts nowadays, but they're only there to do what a regular layman could do in Judaism. But you don't need a court to convert someone. You don't need to be a rabbi to convert someone. You don't need to be a rabbi to fill out a ketubah, to be Masada Kedushin, to write a get. You don't need to be a rabbi. Nowadays, they're like, oh, you need to be a judge, but they've invented these positions, but they don't carry any weight. Because back then, if a member of the Sanhedrin said something, then it was, if the Sanhedrin voted on something, it was binding on all of Israel. Today, if you're a party and you don't like what the Spartan are doing, you could become Ashkenazi, you could pray in a different synagogue, so there's different, it's kind of, I don't know, it's better now like this, I think.
Well, I mean, look, you and I are on the same side politically. We're both conservatives, right? Now, we may not agree about every politician, but we're conservatives, and one of the foundational pieces of our conservative belief system is the decentralization of power, right? Like we both believe in a limited government in the way the framers and a less powerful Washington compared to the states, compared to the city, right? What does Prager say? The
bigger the government, smaller the city.
Yeah. So in a way, it almost mimics the trajectory of Jewish history, kind of mimics the conservative belief system of decentralization. Now, I'm not saying that's right or the way it should be. I'm just noticing a pattern there that, especially since the Sanhedrin, was disbanded, and obviously we were spread all over the place, so it would be hard without the ability to communicate to have one centralized authority. But it's very similar to our conservative belief system of less power to the the central government.
I mean, I feel the same way. With the bigger the rabbit is, the smaller the layman. And I don't think, that rabbis today, I mean, get too much praise. I mean, we have this idea of gedolim, like of rabbis in Israel who don't make mistakes. Like also, I mean, the notion of a tzaddik nowadays is a Kabbalistic idea of someone who doesn't sin. And these people think that these people speak for God. And I disagree. I mean, these rabbis, their opinion, they speak for their community, right? But only for their community. But in Israel, like Sfardim, try to make you hold by Rabbi Vadi Yosef. Like they believe that their rabbi is always right. Ashkenazim aren't like that so much. Ashkenazim will give you 5 different answers to one question, and they'll just tell you to do what your rabbi does, or like do the way you do in your community. But Sfardim will give
that also has to do with the fact that the Sfardim were not as dispersed geographically as the Ashkenazi, right? We were so spread out over Europe that, again, you didn't have a sort of a central authority. The Sfardim were less spread out. They were in just a couple geographic places, but you had the Ashkenazi all the way from, England, France, up in, all the way into Southern Europe, all the way into Germany, Belarus, and
no. I mean, Sephardic Jews traditionally only meant Jews from Spain and Portugal.
Right.
But nowadays it encompasses like Mizrahi Jews, North African Jews, Persians, even Jews from India for some reason identify as Sephardi. I don't know. And that's the fault of Rav Ovadia Yosef, because he combined all the like nusachs, like prayer liturgy books, into one called Edot HaMizrach, like just so non-white Jews in Israel could unite on something. And even now, not all Ashkenazim use the same prayer book. Like Hasidic Jews pray Nusach Sfard, which has really, it's not Sephardic, it's just Nusach Sfard because it's based off a lot of the Arizal. The Arizal himself was Sephardic, but Judaism essentially. And then there's Ashkenaz, which is what Ashkenazim pray. And there's Nusach Hari, which is what Chabad prays. And then the Yemenites have their own Nusach. The Persians have their own,
right.
There's, to the point that there's more like non-Ashkenazi Jews in Israel nowadays than Ashkenazi style Jews.
Right.
So
I've always been under the understanding that Sephardic was, like you said, Spain and Portugal, and then all of a sudden I'm hearing lately, especially on TikTok, that it also encompasses North Africa, and I was like, I hadn't heard that before. I thought that was sort of in the realm of the Mizrahi.
I mean, Spain and Morocco are separated by nothing.
Right.
So maybe that's why. I mean, Morocco, speaks Spanish, half of it. Like if you're from Tangier, you speak Spanish. If you're from Casablanca, you speak French.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe that's it. Anyways, on that note, well, let's go ahead and stab out for tonight, Hammer.
Laila Tov, Asher, have a good night. God bless.
You be well, guys. Thank you for stopping by. Let people know that, the Jews are coming for their belief system. All right. I believe in every Gentile, there's a Jew fighting to get out. Right?
That's a nice way to say it. I like that. I may steal that. I'm just letting you know. I may steal that.
You remember Total Recall? When the guy pops
out. Of course.
Remember?
Quoto.
Yeah. Oh, was that?
His name was Quoto. Yeah. I totally remember. Yeah.
All right. The more Jews.
We're too old for these young folks. They don't know all the good stuff we know from our childhood.
All right.